It is quite a story. So in terms of the timeline, I have some notes that I might refer to from time to time. It started, with hindsight now I know, it started on December 7th in the evening, UK time. I started to get a series of messages on my phone from Amazon asking me to confirm some orders. It was clear to me immediately that there was some sort of glitch, possibly a hack or something. So I just ignored them and cancelled them all. And then nothing more happened. So I was like, okay, that happened, not a problem. I then went away for the weekend, and it wasn't until the morning of the 10th of December, I was actually away from home, and I had an email alert came through to my email to tell me that a parcel I had ordered was due to be delivered on Monday, the 11th of December. Well, I haven't ordered anything, so I went into my Amazon account in the UK. I looked for any orders, and I could see no order history. I did, because I was alerted at this point, I thought, I wonder if something has been hacked. So I did take the precaution at that time of taking all of my card details off the Amazon account. I changed my password, and I started two-part authentication, which I'd not previously done. So I was a bit nervous at this point. Anyway, we then get to Monday, the 11th, which is when this order was supposed to be delivered to an address in Portland, Oregon, which is why I knew it was completely wrong. I checked my bank account in the morning, and it showed no funds taken, and it showed no pending spend. So on all counts, I'm quite comfortable at this point. The speaker on my wife, she said, maybe you should report this to Amazon, just in case. So I telephoned Amazon locally, or made contact with Amazon locally, and we had a telephone conversation with this quite a helpful person. I explained what experience I had. She seemed mainly concerned about whether I had any money taken. And I said, no. I said, it just seems to be one of those things. Nothing bad seems to have happened. So she said she'd reported up the line for security, and I would hear back within 24 hours. So that was Monday the 11th. On the morning of the 12th, on checking my bank accounts, I found that the equivalent of $136 US, which was in UK pounds, £110.50, had been debited from my bank account. So despite the fact I had no order history on my Amazon account, and despite the fact that on the previous day there was no pending spend, suddenly £110 had disappeared. So I spoke to my bank immediately, explained the background of what had happened with Amazon, and they very kindly, they cancelled my card immediately and very kindly reimbursed me the money pending an investigation. That was fine. I then went back to Amazon on the same day and spoke to a different customer service assistant, explained what had happened. I also said that I've got details here of the order number that was used in this. At that point, I still thought it was maybe a mistake. So I have this order number. I passed them the order number. And I'd also found by then there was yet another order that had been placed but then cancelled. But by this time, I had no bank details on the site. Anyway, so the UK-based, or I suppose it was UK-based guy I spoke to, took all the details. He took the order number down, identified the order numbers as being orders placed in the US because they were prefixed with a 111 number, whereas the UK prefix is a 204 number. So I'm learning quite a bit as I've been through this. And he said, again, he would escalate it to security. I would hear within 24 hours what their findings were. So again, at that point, okay, something's happened. My bank has given me the money back. There's an investigation going on. Everything should be fine, I think. We then get to the morning of the 13th, and I got a message back from Amazon to say, investigation concluded, no order history, place closed. So I thought, well, this can't be right, surely. So I then, on a hunch, I then looked at Amazon.com rather than Amazon.co.uk, and I put my login details with my new password into the US-based version, and to my amazement and surprise, I could log into an account in my name with my details in the US. It also, by the way, had the address of the drop point in Portland, Oregon, which was one of these Amazon pickup boxes, if you know what I mean. Okay, so at that point, I thought there's something seriously wrong here. So I phoned Amazon yet again. I thought it was a very helpful person. I explained the story I'm explaining to you now. She said she would look into it while I was online. What she found was she was based in the UK market. She could not access the US order numbers, so she couldn't confirm, verify what I was telling her. At the conclusion of that conversation, she said she would give me some details of who I could speak to in the US, and I should perhaps have an online chat with the US market. So that ended that discussion. I then tried to contact Amazon US. Now, using the same method as they do in the UK, there's a box where when you finally dig through it, there is a box where you can leave your telephone number, they will call you back. It would not accept a UK number. I then defaulted to the chat version. I thought, well, maybe I can have a chat with somebody online. And again, because it was a UK-based number or something, I couldn't get through. So the upshot of all this is, unless I was prepared to pay a toll number to the United States from the UK, I had no way of contacting Amazon to explain to them what was going on. So that's where we've arrived. Nothing has happened since. I've heard nothing from my bank. I've left the account in the US live on the basis that I still have none of my cards attached to it, so it can't really do me any harm. But at least there is an audit trail there now of where this stuff was picked up from, what the order numbers were, and what other action was taken that in. So that's where I'm at. Now, in some respects, I could say maybe the situation's closed. My bank has yet to come back to me and say whether they want to pursue anything. I have an audit trail of everything that's gone on. Interestingly, in the US account, if I look for order history, there is no history of any orders placed on that account in the US. However, if you look a bit deeper, look into transactions, it actually does have the transaction, this particular transaction, $136, et cetera, et cetera. So whoever's got into this, and one has to assume it's been initiated from somewhere in the US because the component that was bought went to the US address. Somebody has been able to get into this and clear any order history in that account, but it still retains the transaction details. So it starts to look, unless somebody's really clever here, this almost looks like an inside story. I don't know, but that's it. So it's quite complex. Where has it left me? Well, I'm now very concerned, and I guess nervous is the right answer, about the reliability and the security that Amazon have, to the extent that, although I use Amazon quite frequently, I no longer attach any card or payment details. If I want to make a transaction, I'll make it in the moment and then I'll remove all my details. So it's, at the minute, I would say it's been quite an irritation. It's been interesting. And I would really like to know how you get to the bottom of this, because it just seems that Amazon either don't have the interest, ability, or whatever it takes to get to the bottom of this. I cannot be the only person in the world that's been affected by this. So I don't know. I wonder. I mean, I've got nowhere else to go. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, happy to talk to you, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time chasing people, and certainly chasing Amazon in the US. They have a problem. They should fix it. It's not my problem. It's their problem. Well, there's nothing. I'm not out of pocket. I've had a bit of an annoying time. I could have done without the stress, but I'm not a litigious sort of person as such. I would really be interested to know, what have they done? What have they found out? And what have they discovered? And so it's curiosity, really, for me. At the end of the day, if they're not interested, I'm not interested in them. It will undoubtedly affect the frequency and the care with which I purchase through Amazon. And I know, they will probably say, okay, it's one customer amongst billions. Who cares? it's a little bit of inconvenience to me, but I'm going to be very, very careful now because we have what's called a Prime account in the UK. So we pay a subscription, and on that basis, you don't have to pay delivery charges. So I use Amazon quite frequently, once, twice a week for quite a lot of purchases, often quite small things. But I'm not using them at all now. And I'm going to think very hard before I at least let them have the details or post the details of my accounts. So it's affected my purchasing. Yeah, in terms of what can they do, I have no expectations, frankly. I've become a bit sort of immune to the poor state of customer service in this industry and a few others I can talk about. So anyway.